Welcome to episode 4 of the Fascist Alternative. I am your host, Timmy Johnson, and joining me, as always, every single week is Ryan Anderson. Ryan, how are you?
Hola, mi amigo. I am doing good tonight. How are you?
Besides that, I'm having technical difficulties on my end.
Gremlins are out tonight, this close to Halloween.
I am doing really well. This is our 4th shot of trying to get this done, and it's not going so good, but, we'll get through it. But thank you, each and every single one of you. We are gaining momentum on this podcast. We have reached almost 500 downloads, which is pretty good, which this isn't gone on for very long, but, we're slowly getting those downloads, and it's going really well. I think we'll hit which I changed the genre of this. We were under philosophy, and which it could be viewed as philosophy.
We're talking a little bit about dudism, so yeah, it's a little bit of philosophy. It's mostly humor.
Right, so we changed our genre to comedy, and I felt that was kind of more, kind of represented it a little better than what philosophy would. But we are on Instagram. If you go to the Fascist Alternative on Instagram, that is FASCIST Alternative. I always have even though that's our name for this thing.
So if you go back and apply what philosophy actually meant when it was established, in ancient Greece, it was just the purpose of philosophy is just to live the good life. And I would say that's kind of what the dude's purpose is.
Oh, yeah.
To live the good life, just to take it easy and have some fun, roll some frames, have a beverage in your hand,
yes,
hang out with some buds. Just have the good life. So I would say philosophy.
In his case.
Yes, smoke a few buds, hang out with some buds, bowl some frames.
But yeah, we're at 4 episodes in, and I think it's going really well, which we might, we had a guest last week. He'll probably be back next week, so if you enjoyed the episode with Strobel on it, he'll be back next week. But at this point of our show, we have a segment that we like to call Over the Line. Anderson, why don't you start us off?
So I was thinking about my Over the Line. I was having trouble coming up with it until Friday night when I walked into the restroom at our work. And this is probably about like most men's room you and I have been in our life, public men's room. It had the distinct smell that someone dropped a deuce in the middle of the floor. I don't know if you remember this. It's atrocious, and I don't understand. There's been many a bathroom, if it's a truck stop or a restaurant or something you've gone into, and it's just been awful. I've seen this a few times too, where you go into these, and this wasn't the case this week, but I've seen a lot of times you go in the bathroom and someone decides just to leave a deuce in the toilet. Yeah. And it's just a large deuce in the toilet. Yeah. It's not a floater,
They don't flush it.
No, they don't flush it. Like they're proud of it and they're leaving it for everyone else, and that's generally part of what leaves the stink for everyone. Yeah. Well, a lot of times, if you never notice these large deuces, there's not much toilet paper in there.
No.
So they tell you that someone didn't wipe their ass very good. So someone you're working with or someone you're dining with has not got proper ass wiping maintenance. Yeah.
Oh, that's actually a really good point. I've never thought of it that way.
I don't understand why I go to the restroom with a bunch of barbarians. It's not that hard. They got the little in there. They got the little spritzers in there with the air freshener, but I think they need to turn up the dial on it, give us a little bit more.
They probably put those in there when they first built it, and then, who wants to take the time and refill those? That's a fucking inconvenience.
I think it's a very good convenience that they need to do. I think we need to put someone on the payroll to get this done.
For us. Inconvenient, it's a convenience for us, but,
I mean, and I've heard from some of the ladies, or my wife has talked about it in the past, or so, that the women's rooms are even worse than ours in terms of. I mean, I've heard of everything from like urine and crap on the seats to blood and everything else. It's like people just hover and
ruthless.
It's just awful. I mean, as bad as ours is. I don't know. I would propose the idea of what's the worst bathroom you've ever been in?
Oh God, that is. Well, I worked for this one company one time for a summer that like we had to like put up tents and stuff.
Yeah.
And we were at like we were in Evansville and we were on the truck, kind of like like when garbage trucks like go around and they like kind of hang off the truck, but we were picking up like. Well, we were like dropping tents and hurrying up and putting them on and stuff like that, and all of a sudden it hit me like I had to shit.
The brown noise was played.
Like you do this now, or else you're gonna regret it.
Yeah.
And there was a porta john just like down the ways, and I fucking ran to it, and it had rained the night before. So I don't know if you're very familiar with a porta john, which I would say there's a vent tube on the top.
Yeah.
And I would assume I would say there might be like a baffle or something in there, so it wouldn't get rain in there.
Yeah, you'd think it'd overflow if you get too much. I mean, you're really down toward.
This one did.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. I got in there and there was toilet paper and shit everywhere. Just it was awful, but there was no holding this back. Like
it had to come.
Yeah,
it was.
You're shitting. Yeah, or you're gonna shit your pants. So. Yeah, that was probably the most fulfilling I've ever had too.
Are you one of the guys who are nervous about shitting in a porta pot?
No,
I'm not either. But I've met a lot of people who won't.
Yeah, as I've gotten older,
yeah,
I really don't care.
If in all worst case scenarios, I just throw a little paper down.
Yeah.
I'm going to do business. I'm not waiting. I'm not walking around with my guts hurting.
And our workplace too. At first, I was like, "Oh man,
man, I can't poop. I don't care anymore. I'm letting rip.
It's gonna happen. Like I'm not
sitting
I'm not
here
waiting
miserable.
until I get home. I've shit at work probably 3 times before. Like it just happens. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. Like the constant flow of shit that happens in our bathroom is awful.
It's like an orchestra tuning up in there some nights.
Yes, it's all. Oh my.
So I mean, I don't know. I mean, they generally have the paper in there. You can throw a little like seat saver down, but sometimes they don't. Mm-hmm. So you're either going to have to blow off the whatever's on the toilet seat, or take a little, or you're going to have to just go bare on it.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I was in Boston a bunch of years ago, and I was at Logan Airport. We were flying back from Boston, and the old brown noise hit, and I was like, I'm gonna go take. I don't want to get on a plane and have to take a crap either. So you want to take care of business before you get on the plane.
Right.
And so I go in there, and it's super fancy. They had the plastic that went around the seat, and when you got up, it's all motion detected. Oh yeah, that was premium poopage right there.
Yeah. I was
damn proud to take a dump in Massachusetts that day.
I think when I went to do some training in New Jersey. It was Philadelphia Airport had one of those, and I was blown the fuck away.
I know. They're thinking of everything.
Yeah, I think maybe
it doesn't happen in Indiana.
No,
we're a little old school. You got to throw the paper down yourself here.
I was wondering how much those systems cost, because that was the first time I ever saw that shit before.
It's worth every penny, is my opinion.
Yeah.
I bet they had an automated air freshener in there too.
No, one's if my one thing is like if somebody got shit like right on the thing that like recirculated the plastic around it,
and it like drug it around,
smear around it.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, that'd be awful.
So on top of that, I've never been in one of these, but I've heard of them. You've heard of them. The fancy bathrooms that have the guy in there with the mints and the little splitch of cologne and pat the towel. So what does that poor guy have to do if he ends up in a toilet like the one at work here, where these dudes are just dropping bombs? Yeah. This poor guy has got to sit in there and
just eat it.
Eat it. I mean, I think if I go into a bathroom ever, I doubt I'll ever go into somewhere that fancy, but there's a dude in there with a little cologne. He's looking for a tip. I'm getting him a good tip if it stinks like that bathroom did the other night.
I've been in a couple of bars that had that.
Had the guy?
Yeah. It was in Louisville. There was a couple of bars that I went into.
Wow.
Yeah, you wouldn't think, but it was a you would not think that this bar would have it. And, you know, he's pretty cool, but, man, it was just...
And around drunks, too. You imagine what drunks are doing. They ain't hitting the bowl at all.
No,
there's no way.
There's
piss and shit everywhere. Who knows what else? They're nowhere getting close to that bowl.
But he was in good spirits. I mean, I'm sure he made decent money tips, but, man...
Well, yeah, you got a bunch of drunks. They're going to tip good.
Yeah. No, there's 5, and it's probably $100 bill. But this week, I have... really, my over the line this week is like, with where we live and stuff, it's just like, man, I'm not a cold weather guy at all. It's like...
I'm not either.
Oh, man, over the line on this weather, man. Like, what the fuck?
It went from almost summertime weather to almost wintertime weather in less than a week.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's damn near fucking freezing. Like, you know, it's almost...
It was sweating like 2 weeks ago. It was 90.
Yeah.
And now it's like the high is like 40 and it's raining the whole time. Yeah. It's only going to get worse.
I sat on the couch a lot today and I fell asleep a lot. And I had like 2 blankets on and my sweatshirt. And, you know, you see my furry hat.
Yeah.
I had that on and sweatpants. And I was just miserable. My wife's laughing at me.
It's not even that cold yet.
Oh, fuck. I know. I'm in for a rude awakening.
Well, it hits about 5 out one night in January.
I am not doing well with this already at all. Like, I don't know how I'm going to make it the rest of this winter.
A bunch of years ago, I lived in Arizona for a winter.
Right.
I went to school out there and all that. And this was right after Christmas we moved out there. And it's, you know, cold here, traveling across the United States, going over the Rockies and all that. It's cold everywhere. And you get down, you come from Flagstaff, you go down to Phoenix, and it's like 70 degrees in January. I'm in a t-shirt, man, and blue jeans. I am loving life. It's just great. And the locals are got like hooded sweatshirts and coats and stuff on. I'm looking at me like I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, it's perspective. And when it's 120 during the summer, you know, 60 degrees is freezing for there. Yeah. But it was funny.
This part of the world, Indiana, it's fucking terrible.
We would take 60 in a heartbeat right now, and 60 was freezing to them.
Fuck yeah, I'd take 60 right now. Which I'm in the garage, which it stays kind of regular in here. It's not like freezing, but I got to get away from the peoples. I got peoples sleeping not too far. But yeah, it's fucking cold. That's my over the line this week, is it is fucking freezing. I don't know how I'm going to do a full winter of this shit. Like, we
didn't really have a bad winter last year, so we're kind of due at some point here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be brutal this year. Like,
unless we've just thoroughly screwed up our climate, we should be due for one.
Climate change isn't real, Anderson.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It is.
No, I'm sorry.
That is true. Why would you even?
I know. That's that science stuff again.
Yeah. We don't
with
speak
flat
of
Earth.
that.
Yeah.
But now we'll get into some news and headlines. So, this first article was actually suggested by you, and which, you know, we have to take a little buffer time there to plug into the iPad Izzle. And this is a Wisconsin man got locked up in a walk-in beer cooler. He had everything that he needed, he said. So let's listen to this short video.
Of the town is what one man did at the local Quick Trip.
They're open 24/7. How do you get locked in the cooler?
I think it's hilarious that somebody would get locked in a beer cooler.
This is definitely a first.
Police say on Tuesday, 38-year-old Jeremy Van Ert walked inside the beer cooler at Quick Trip in Marshfield just before midnight.
The subject found himself locked within the beer cooler, knew that Quick Trip would not sell him any beer after midnight, so he decided to remain in the beer cooler, consumed 4 individual beers.
Van Ert also knocked down several 30-packs of beer and is believed to have urinated during his time inside.
A customer came by the beer cooler at about 6 a.m. and saw him inside. They notified management.
Van Ert was let out and left the store. He was later arrested and charged with retail theft. A bizarre call even for police.
This is unique. I've been here 20 years and I've never I've heard of people being locked inside of buildings, never inside of a beer cooler or a beer cave.
Authorities say the 38-year-old offered no explanation and just wanted to drink beer.
There's things that Mr. Van Ert could have done to remedy the situation as well, knocking on the glass door.
But for those enjoying lunch, they say it was a childish decision.
Grow up.
Oh man.
This is
All right.
priceless.
Yeah, like
So I'm trying to. So I guess this is like a Quick Mart, right?
yeah.
It's a Quick Mart in
Quick Trip.
Wisconsin. Quick Trip. Guy goes in there. It has an automatic lock instead of just the cashier saying no, we can't serve you after this point. It automatically locks the beer cooler. He got locked in. I mean, which is rational on his part. Now he's not going to get his beer because they're not going to sell it to him. So might as well drink a few cold ones while I'm in here.
Right. Which it says that he had.
So one of them was an ice house.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
And then the other one, I was trying to see. It was something I have never heard of
It's
before.
Four Locos. They're, I think they're like energy drink, alcoholic drinks. I think people can bash me on that because I've never drank those, but I think they taste like shit. To my
Is it kind of like when people take Red Bull and mix it with vodka or
yeah,
something
it's
like
kind
that?
of like that, but it's like already made, I believe. But man, that ice house. If you can
So
choke one of them down to begin with.
So I have a couple of the things here.
Mm-hmm.
Why in the world, if you're locked in there and you're going to steal beer, why are you taking an ice house to start with? Why aren't you going for like the Budweiser, or why aren't you going for like the fancy import beer?
Yeah, I would go for something that I know I
mean-
wasn't going to pay for.
Yeah, I mean, why aren't you getting some Guinness or something like that? I mean,
this guy, maybe just it's so embedded into his white trash DNA that fucking ice house is the best option. Well, might as well have an ice house. I'm gonna fucking drink his shit.
so you think he's like tried the door once? Well, looks like I'm locked in here.
Best day
might as well.
ever.
So it also says he urinated in there. So I'm going to propose either he urinated on the floor,
Yes.
which is now probably partially, slushy, frozen. Maybe not be frozen because it's not going to be freezing in there. It's just going to be about 40 degrees
It's
for a cooler
pretty
for beer.
close. What's freezing? 30 degrees?
32.
32 degrees? I'd say it's probably
you're saying-
close to it. 34.
It's going to be slippery. Or that. I doubt he took the time to drink a beer and then actually urinate into the bottle.
That makes too
after
much
he was
sense.
Done. Yeah, that makes too much sense. We probably had to take a leak right there on the floor in
Yeah.
there. Then he knocked over, what was it, a pallet full of Busch Light.
Yeah.
That's a little bit more high class beer than the
Yes.
Ice House.
Yeah. Oh God. Which both of those beers are terrible. I'll
See, I'm not a
Busch
beer
Light.
drinker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a beer drinker. When I was growing up, when we had there was parties in the neighborhood or whatever,
Yeah.
the guys have a party. They'd always get a keg of Busch Light.
Yeah.
Which I'm not a beer drinker anyway. I'm especially not now. I don't drink at all.
It's terrible.
I don't know. I
Especially
think if
Ice House.
I'm going to commit theft and be locked in a cooler,
Yes.
I'm drinking something better than Ice House.
Oh yeah. You,
I guess the Keystone Light must have been in the other cooler. Or the Pabst. The Pabst Blue Ribbon must have been in the other
No,
cooler. He wasn't
actually-
locked in.
PBR is actually not bad. I would rather drink PBR than Budweiser any day.
Really?
Yeah, it tastes way better than that watered down. Oh man, compared to Bud Light or something like that. Oh, it's so much better.
So I'm going to propose to you. Say Timothy Johnson's taking place of Mr. Van Erck, or whatever his name was here. You're locked in the cooler. What
Yes.
beverage are you going for while you're
man.
in the said cooler?
It's the quick stop, right? So they're not.
Yeah,
gonna,
they probably not got too many. They probably got Heineken and maybe some Coronas.
Yeah, I would probably if it was. They're not gonna like we said. It's a quick. What is it? Quick stop. I think it was called. Yeah. They're not gonna have your which I like to dabble into some craft beer and stuff like that.
Oh,
but
they ain't going to have the microbrews there.
No, they are not.
They're going to have the big ones.
Yeah, I would probably dip into the Corona, and
They're going to be.
I like that stuff. I think that's all right. It's a good summer.
I don't know
beer.
if the limes would be in the cooler though. That'd be the problem.
No, but he went for the Ice House. But if they had a beer called Busch Ice, which is like a Busch beer hopped up they hopped up the alcohol content, I would probably slam a couple of those. But honestly, like, if I was locked in there, I don't like necessarily like to drink beer when I'm freezing. That doesn't even sound appealing to me.
Well, I am impressed with this gentleman's self-restraint. I mean, he was in this cooler for 6 hours, and he only drank 4 beers.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I mean,
actually
3
not
of them
bad,
were,
yeah.
or take it back. It was 5 beers. He had 4 Loco, or no, wait a minute. It was 3 cans of 4 Loco. So I had 4 beers, which, I mean, 3 of them had to be energy drinks to keep the blood going, I guess, in the cold conditions.
I would have went for more than that. If I'm locked in this, I'm getting.
You think you're sloppy drunk time they open it up?
Plastered. Absolutely. Just, it was for hydration. I had to stay hydrated.
Pants around your ankles, dick out.
Oh, yeah.
Mommy, what's this guy doing?
Man, I just don't know how you get into that situation.
Well, the best part is he doesn't even bang on the thing ever. It's open 24 hours.
Yeah.
When the customer sees him at 6 in the morning, probably getting their coffee and a donut.
Yeah, which
I think see this jack off in the bathroom or in the cooler, pissing on the floor, drinking beer.
It's probably
and
one
they
of those
open up the
beer
cooler.
caves. It's just like a generic way. Hey, we can put all the beer inside this big thing,
Yeah.
so we don't they don't
Like
even,
a big walk-in cooler.
Yeah, they don't even have to take the time to, half-ass give a shit about a display. They just fucking put it in there.
Well, this guy comes out and then he just, "What you doing in there?" And he just proceeds to walk on by him. Out the door he goes. That is amazing to me.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's another one here. This says, police discover speeding driver nearly naked and covered in Vaseline. Said Oklahoma man is greasing the wheels of justice with lots of Vaseline. Good writing.
That will do it.
Man, good writing there.
That guy should be up for the Pulitzer.
He was pulled over on October 15th. He could have easily given cops the slip. That's because the 54-year-old mostly covered in Vaseline on his hands and his upper lower body parts, according to the smoking gun. They made the discovery after pulling him over, doing 57 in a 45, which that isn't too bad.
Yeah, this sounds like profiling to me.
He wasn't. But he also noticed a pornographic magazine was on the passenger seat. And
that's where the trouble began.
Nearly empty jar of Vaseline located next to him. The officer noted.
Yeah, but he wasn't naked though, right?
Well, it gets into that. So what did it say? He handed the ID card over, and the officer had a rag because he had to wipe it off because it had so much Vaseline on it. And
at least the guy's considerate.
Well, he was driving on a revoked license that hadn't been valid since 1985. So that how has that even happened?
So
he hadn't had.
It says here during questioning, Kellerman allegedly admitted to masturbating behind the wheel before being pulled over.
Oh, damn.
See, had a license in 27 years.
Oh, son of a bitch. That's a little. I mean, come on, guy.
So what is? I have never done this. I mean, I will freely admit that I have never masturbated in public like this, but we're seeing a rash of this lately. Mr. Greased up deaf guy here jerking off behind the wheel.
Why can't you wait until your destination or whatever? That's.
I've got to do it now. I have got to cover myself in Vaseline and just pinch one off here on the road.
I've never been in that much of a need to just gotta whack off this.
Gotta do it right now.
Right fucking now. And conveniently, I have Vaseline right here, so I can get this done.
I mean, at least he's thinking about his skincare.
Yeah, I mean, he's not gonna.
He's not just. Yeah, he's just not going raw at it, getting sores on his wiener or something.
Spit and whatnot, but I mean, I don't. That just doesn't. I don't know. That's not the first thing that I'm gonna. Oh well, I haven't masturbated in forever. Might as well just take advantage of my time on this long commute. I commute an hour there, an hour back. I've got 2 hours on the road. I could easily.
That's a lot of masturbating you could do.
Exactly. Maybe I am just not utilizing my time correctly. I could have been masturbating this whole time. Wow.
This guy could have been locked in a beer cooler for the last 6 hours, and cold. He's not going to be ideal masturbating environment.
Yeah.
So he made his getaway.
Maybe that's why there was only piss in there and not semen, because who would want to masturbate when it's almost damn near freezing?
Yeah.
But man, if you were, could you imagine being the officer in that situation?
This guy is glistening, covered in Vaseline, in a Speedo.
Yeah. Like, it does
Pornographic.
say that he's in what did it say? He walked up to the car and he was nearly naked except for a bikini thong.
Bikini thong, string up his ass. The officer noted that the driver's side of the car was extremely greasy.
Wonder if he was wonder if the interior was fucking leather.
That's when you think, that's when you think you hate your job.
Yeah.
Imagine that officer. Oh, damn it! Come on, man.
Dude's in a thong and fucking greased up.
He's got to get this dude out of the car and handcuff him, greased up, put him in the back of his patrol car.
Salute to the officers out there that have to deal with dirtbags like that.
Masturbating men on the roads. But this is not, like I said, this isn't the first time we're seeing all these guys publicly masturbating in front of people. Like we talked about Weinstein a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I mean, his MO was he was inviting them up to his room and coming out with a bathrobe on, wide open with nothing on, and start jerking off into plants in front of them. And there was someone else I just seen. It was he was a executive for ABC News. That all the ladies have been, talking about their experiences with him. Mm-hmm. And he was doing the same thing. He would have these women stand there while he jerked off in front of them. I don't understand it. I don't understand the whole appeal of this.
Yeah, I'm just gonna watch me.
Just watch. You can't do nothing about it.
This is gonna be amazing. Just watch me just spray fucking baby batter everywhere.
So I want to know where this guy was at, though, because I mean, surely he had to make a stop somewhere. I mean,
to get the Vaseline, or he just always, Well,
I'm sure he had the Vaseline already.
Yeah,
he was already prepared.
But God, I mean, what? Vaseline?
You think he was hanging outside the roller rink or something? Yeah, look at that.
Like, I would say a man like that masturbates, he probably was in an IROC Camaro. For one.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yes.
Most definitely.
That had no exhaust. And it was red at one point, but all the clear coat had been baked off of it. So it was like...
Flaking a little bit?
Yes. Flaking everywhere and rust.
What do you think was on the stereo? I'm going with Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Boston on the stereo.
I'm saying AC/DC, Highway to Hell.
Oh, yeah. That's a good choice, too.
Yeah, that's...
rocking out with his cock out.
Yes, literally. And just fucking beat, this is the best. This is the best ever. I'm fucking beating off and listening to AC/DC. And, which he wasn't really going too fast over the speed limit, but man, I'm surprised he didn't do like 30 over.
The mugshot of this gentleman looks like he has had a few partying times.
Yes.
I mean, he looks like he's been around the block a little bit.
Very. I mean, he might have an okay job, but he's got.
He used to. He got caught jerking off in his car, covered in Vaseline.
Can you imagine having, a meeting with your direct supervisor? So I went to jail over the weekend. Oh, did you have too much to drink? No. Well, I might have been drinking, but I was beating off in public, and I was covered in Vaseline, and I just ran, and they tried to, get me.
Yeah.
That might be.
Well, maybe he was anticipating being caught by the cops, and this was a way to slip out of the situation.
Yeah. Very well could have been.
Excuse me, Mr. Kellerman. We've heard reports of you masturbating in public. This is a non-public masturbation company.
Oh, shit. Oh, well, it's...
I don't understand it.
Yeah. And we'll probably get more of these weeks
I'm sure this is our bread and butter right here, public masturbation.
Yeah, you can always have a show with public masturbation, but we'll get a little themed news here. I was just thinking about, the upcoming holiday, which, I consider Halloween. Halloween is a fun. It's meant to be for fun. It's
Yes.
It's people blow it out of proportion. Say it's a fucking devil. It's
Well, it's a pagan holiday initially.
yeah. It's just I don't view it as anything really. It's just a holiday for children to dress up and get some candy and just have fun. Like, what else, the ritual, I do rituals outside of this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm joking, totally kidding. But yeah, like if you were claiming that somebody, this is for satanic purposes. If they were gonna practice Satanism or whatever the fuck, they're not just gonna wait for one day.
I mean, it's like any holiday anymore. It's so damn commercialized.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really mean what it used to
Right.
mean. I mean, they have Halloween stuff up right after pretty much 4th of July.
Yeah.
We've had Christmas stuff up for what, a month or more now. It's July. It's October 31st or 30th or almost 31st.
Yeah.
We've had Christmas stuff up for a month or more.
Yeah, which
I mean, as soon as Christmas is over, they'll be putting up Valentine's Day
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, I
think Valentine's Day really is a crock of shit.
I think it's a Hallmark holiday myself.
But I enjoy Christmas though. I like, we'll probably spin off the fucking rails on Christmas in the month of December, but we got Thanksgiving coming up too. But this was themed as like some Halloween safety tips. So, cross the street at corners using traffic signals and crosswalks. Look left, right, and left again when crossing, and keep looking as you cross. Put electronic devices down and keep heads up and walk. Don't run across the street, which that's probably a really bad problem. People fucking walking and
got their nose in the iPhone.
Fuck yeah, which I'm on mine decent amount of the time, but I try not to do it when I'm walking. Like, maybe in a store or something, but if I'm crossing the goddamn street,
Here's a busy intersection. I should check the news.
like, or fucking face space or whatever the fuck they're checking. Like, I guarantee if everybody goes trick-or-treating, you're gonna see a parent with their children and they've got their nose deep in that fucking smartphone and their kids are relying on this adult to lead them across the street and they got their fucking face in it. Guarantee it.
I'll guarantee it.
I'm not gonna be out for much. We're gonna go, but if I see it, I'll snap a picture of it and put it on the Instagram because I guarantee it's gonna happen. But it says watch for cars that are turning or backing up. Teach children to never dart out into the street. And it says,
So this all sounds so far like common sense stuff you should be teaching your kids
Right.
to start with.
I would hope.
You would hope that they would learn this year round
Right.
and not just Halloween.
The children under the age of 12 should not be alone at night without adult supervision. If kids are mature enough to be out without supervision, they should stick to familiar areas, which, that's pretty much a given too. Like, I wouldn't send, even if my...
To that creepy van by the river, it says free candy on the
Or
side.
just, hey, I've never even seen this part of town. Let's go take a gander and try to get
Yeah.
candy. Like, just be cautious.
I smell anhydrous and ether in the air. I should trick or treat right here.
Yes, they got money. They farm. No, it's actually a meth lab. But no, just like, even if my child was mature, I don't think I would even send, maybe, what would you think a good age to send them out with a group of friends? Maybe if it was definite, like they're staying like in town or something like that, but I don't know what a age appropriate.
So this has changed so much. This has changed so much. I mean, I'm 38, and from what I was younger to what it is now, it's changed quite a bit. And I'm sure it's changed quite a bit from when my parents were younger and my grandparents were younger.
Right.
We've gotten, as a society, to be just hand-wringing Nancy's. It's kind of sad, and I think it's kind of part of our problem with some of these kids now not knowing how to do basic things. Is maybe we've held their hand too much. I mean, I don't know if my daughter is 9, and I wouldn't send her out by herself, but I think once you get to 12, 11, 12, you need to be out walking around. You know, you should have enough maturity to do that. So,
and like,
and you need to be teaching your kids, you know, to look both ways and don't go up to strange places.
Right. And maybe, you know, if you get by God, if you got invited, hey, I've got some more candy, some better candy
in the back room.
Yes, come back here. This is where the good stuff is. Children, do not go. That is not where the good stuff is.
That's
naughty.
That's where the Vaseline covered guy in a thong's at.
Yes, that is naughty jungle of love. Do not go. But it's kind of, I don't know, I mean, what Halloween used to be. I mean, these kids, you really did kind of go by themselves. I mean, if they were real young, the parents went with them, but the parents, it's like today, the parents are hovering. They call it like helicopter parenting, where they're just hovering over top of these kids all the time, micromanaging. And then when they get to about 18, they send them off to college and they lose their minds. Either they lose their minds or they can't take care of themselves or a little of both. Drugs and alcohol? Okay, never seen this before.
Okay, I've
never been talked about this or taught.
No, because we can't talk about it. We might offend someone.
But one thing I think is like, you know, years ago, you know, you'd have a bag of candy and like, did your parents ever have to check your candy?
I think a little bit it was said, but we really didn't go anywhere where I had to worry about it. We went to my grandparents or be people my parents worked with or people my parents went to church with or something like that. It wasn't really random people, so there was no need for that.
Which my grandma would tell me sometimes, you know, like her dad would sit down and check everything and stuff like that, you know, maybe just, you know, secretively eating most of it. Maybe that was just a con for parents to actually just eat the candy. Oh, I'm going to check it for razor blades.
See, we lived out in the country, so I didn't get to walk around doing it. But my parents would drive us. But my parents would also sit in the car for the most part.
Right.
We'd go out and trick or treat, and they'd sit there. So they gave us a little bit of free reign.
But I would almost safe to assume that, you know, the days of putting razor blades in candy you don't really mainstream hear about stuff like that happening anymore, which is a step in the right direction.
Oh, if it happened, it would be the end of the world, though.
You'd hear about it.
Oh, God. It'd be on Facebook and Instagram. And oh, jeez.
But, you know, it's...
So I seen something recently. They were talking about, like, abductions and children abduction. This is FBI statistics. And if you listen to the media, or you listen to Fox News or CNN or Facebook, you think kids are getting yanked off the streets left and right. And it's just, you got to arm yourself. And just, it's like Afghanistan out there. And it's like record low amounts of abductions of children. Record low of all, say, last 100+ years of the United States.
Yeah.
Just minuscule amounts of kids get abducted. And it gets a lot of publicity when it happens. But it's actually super rare. Yeah. So your children are more safe now when you're hovering over them than they were, 50 years ago when people just threw them out the door and don't come back till the sun comes down.
Well...
Which I'm sure the wine bags will tell you, it's because I'm hovering over them that they don't get abducted. But
it's probably what I think maybe it could be is like maybe there's so many more ways of getting caught as of like social media.
Everyone's got a cell phone.
Right.
There's traffic lights with cameras. There's cameras everywhere anymore.
Which, technology might have, it's made it evolve, like you could take a picture of their license plate or take a live video or whatever. Like you can definitely capture it a lot better. You're not going to get back then, maybe, what did they have, a Polaroid or something like that?
Yeah.
No.
Hold still, I got to get the Polaroid out.
Or just like a regular camera. Then I've got this information.
I got to go develop this real quick.
Yeah, let me go to the 1 hour,
develop
1 hour photo and develop this real quick, and then we'll get down to this. But no, it's at your fingertips now. You just snap a picture of anything you don't fucking like, which, can be scary at some point too. But
yeah, I think we got 300 and about almost 20 million people living in the United States right now. We got more people than ever, people from all over the world, and it's record low numbers.
Which is good.
So I don't know. I think it is good. It's a good deal. But this means we also have to start backing off the kids, especially around Halloween. Let them off the leash a little bit.
Yeah.
When they're 12, it's okay for them to walk around and walk to the park.
I'd say with a group, have them with a group or something,
Yeah. But I even seen, what was it, recently in New York, someone got in trouble because they were sending their child, it was like I think they were about 11, 12, 13-year-old, somewhere in that area, middle schooler. They were riding the subway to school every day. And people found out and about lost their minds. It's like, come on.
Which they probably didn't take into consideration. Like, they don't know their situation. Maybe they had to do that. Yeah. Because...
Well, some of it, they walked, they took the kid to it, they did the trips, and they know how to do it. And it's just kind of, you have to learn how to live. At some point. You're going to end up as a 19-year-old who can't figure out how to get from one place to the next.
Maybe that person's job... They had no other option. They didn't have any family or anything else, so they had to result in that.
I think I started staying home after school, like riding the bus home and by myself. I want to say late 4th grade. Yeah. So I'd probably been 10, 11, somewhere in that area.
Probably around the same age.
It was probably an hour or two before my dad got home, but oh my God, if you did that today.
Yeah, oh man.
Tar and feather you.
I think that kind of, teaches a child something too, giving them a little bit of freedom for an hour or so. Maybe they can learn how to take care of themselves for a little bit.
Yeah, my parents had to talk with us. Don't open the door for people you don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that simple. I've talked about that with my daughter. Yeah. You don't open the door for people you don't know. Yeah. You look both ways for crossing the street. Right.
Which there's some this article. It says, there's drive extra safely on Halloween. Slow down and be especially alert in residential neighborhoods. Children are excited on Halloween and may move in unpredictable ways. Man, I guess some...
Well, that's something most drivers should know.
Yeah. Like...
Oh, no, let me check my iPhone here. I gotta... No, officer, I was busy masturbating as I was driving down the road. I didn't see that kid dart out in front of me.
So enter and exit driveways and alleys slow and careful. Eliminate any distractions inside your car, aka your fucking phone. Drive slowly, anticipate heavy pedestrian traffic, and turn your headlights on. Which, if you had something...
That's all like common sense. Why are you driving around at night with no headlights on?
Or even the fact, like, a detour... Like, don't make a heavy traffic area, like, a part of your way to wherever you're going. Like, try to avoid that shit.
I'm not doing it this year. I refuse. Yeah, this is against it. I plan on driving super fast, looking at pornography on my phone while masturbating, driving very erratically.
Drinking Ice House.
Drinking ice. No, I probably won't have the Ice House yet because I'll be having to get into the Quick Mart to get locked in before they shut the cooler up.
This says popular trick-or-treating hours are 5:30 to 9:30, so be especially alert for kids during those hours.
Well, heck, 5:30? It's getting dark here now.
And it's...
By 6, it is dark.
We were going to go, like what you did not too long ago, and trick-or-treat at the zoo, but we were going to do that today. But, man, was it cold when you went?
No, it was actually pretty nice. Like, we picked a good weekend to go.
Like, we thought about going today, but, my God. We have the new baby and stuff. It was damn right cold outside today.
Treating for a half an hour and end up with the baby in the hospital.
Like, I couldn't do it. I was like, man, she's gonna go next week and stuff because we have a way to keep the baby occupied and indoors. But yeah, I just didn't think it was a good idea today just because of the temperature. We're doomed.
Yes. Watch it. It'll turn about 90 in January this year.
Like, this winter's just really got me fucked up because it's going to be bad.
I think we're due. We're due. Yeah.
But, all right, let's get into, closing this thing up, and we'll get into, we just really have dudes of the week. So sometimes, we might just pick out random things it could be not just people, but it could be animals. So we decided this week that they would be our fur friends, which I only have. I have a 2-year-old English Mastiff. He's really goofy. His name's Chewbacca, and which, Chewy for short. And you have 2, right?
Yes. So, well, I don't have him. My
Right.
daughter has he's like a Chai Pin, looks like a half Chihuahua, half Min Pin. His name's Henry. We call him Mr. Henry. And my wife's got a long-haired Chihuahua. Her name's Lemaire. We call her Super.
Yeah.
They're a couple of knuckleheads.
Yeah, I think they deserve proper.
I'd say dogs in general probably embody the dude philosophy more than most people.
Yeah.
I mean, dogs ain't like cats. Cats are kind of sneaky.
Yes. They'll knock over
They're a
shit
little
on
shady. You
purpose.
can't trust a cat. Oh yeah, you can't trust a cat. Dogs are friendly. Dogs are your friend. To a dog, their humans are just weird-looking members of their own pack. Yeah, you ain't no different than them. They're just kind of odd-looking.
If anybody comes here, like, Chewbacca might not seem like your friend at first, but give him like 15 minutes and then he'll be good. Like, he turns on, it's embedded, it's his nature. Like, it's crazy to see an animal that just like instinct is to protect.
He's protecting his pack.
Just protecting his pack, and he'll bark and snarl and stuff, but you just give him a minute to get used to you and he's cool. Then he won't leave you alone. But
that's kind of like, the dogs, like I said, were like the dude. All they're interested in is taking it easy. Little beverage out of the toilet. Some snackage, just not getting too worked up about anything. Yeah, they might get well worked up about the mailman bringing the mail over, but,
Which my daughter decided which we gave him a like a small pumpkin. Like, we decided to maybe we saw it online. We're like, we'll give him we gave him a small pumpkin, and he was carrying it around the house in his mouth. Like, it was it wasn't small, but it was, it was a decent size, and he was just carrying it around the house, and then he just tore it up. He went to his dog bed and just ripped it to shreds. And then today, I fixed my daughter some food, and she didn't, it had to cool. She didn't want to wait for it to cool, so she just dumped it all on the floor. So Chewbacca got chicken nuggets and french fries today. No, he was fucking loving every minute of that.
Best friend. Oh, yeah. That's your best friend anytime there's food around.
Which I'm sure you're a little...
Oh, yeah. Anytime there's a snack, if I ruffle anything, there they are. Eyes just piercing through my soul.
Like, anytime...
So I was thinking... So I was thinking about this, and I kind of mentioned this earlier, talking about dogs and how they're, the ideal people. They're the dudes. I don't know if you've ever heard of a philosopher named Diogenes.
Mm-hmm.
Lived in Greece. I think this is probably about 400 BC. Lived in Corinth, I think, for a while, and lived in Athens. But anyway, he was a philosopher. He lived in a barrel in the street. A barrel. It was like a big. It's bigger than like a keg barrel. It's like a big cistern almost. But he rolled it around everywhere. He was he was a cynic. He just kind of shit on everyone. But he was known for having packs of dogs around him. So cynic, it came from like dog-like. Yeah. Is where that word came from initially. And so his thing was that dogs were the ideal people, because dogs will never lie to you. You can always tell if a dog's happy by its waving its tail. You can tell if it's mad. It's not going to bullcrap you. It's always going to be friendly to you. They're the most honest creatures you're ever going to find.
True.
So, I always find that kind of neat. So I'll kind of tie this in, another story about Diogenes. I could tie in with some of our stories tonight. Diogenes liked to just cause trouble. He liked to crap on people. Anyone had this idea how things should be, he liked to just pick at them. His favorite person to pick at was Plato. Plato was this, real uppity. He was real formal, real kind of, serious about his craft, which is kind of because Plato was a student of Socrates. But Socrates was known for being a kind of a joker and shitting on people too. So it's kind of funny. But Plato, his favorite thing was just picking at Play-Doh all the time. And the rest of them, they'd kick Diogenes out and stuff. So Diogenes liked to do just crazy stuff. He'd show up at like talks or doing this stuff, and he'd start masturbating there. Just masturbating. So kind of like our Vaseline man. He would be jerking off in front of him. And people get all wound up, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? And he's like, if I could only rub my belly and relieve my hunger like I can with jerking off. So he could relieve his horniness by just jerking off. If he could only rub his belly and relieve his hunger. And I think that was just great.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But he lived like a dog. And dogs are the ideal people. And dogs don't care. They have no shame. And I just find that funny. Very dude-like.
Mine sleeps. He'll eat. Well, I'll walk him in the morning, and he'll eat. And then he'll sleep. And he sleeps probably more than half the day. Oh, he asks for some food here and there, maybe some whatever we're eating.
Couple scratches here or there, little ripper rag.
Well, really, that's about all I got for this week. You got anything else for this week?
Not really. I just say stay careful out there as you're masturbating. Keep at least one eye on the road.
And definitely as you're trick-or-treating out there, but make sure you go follow us on Instagram and give us those reviews on iTunes. We really do appreciate that. This has been episode 4. We will definitely see you next week.
Adios, amigos.
I have been Timmy Johnson, and that is Ryan Anderson. Later.